Welcome, everybody. We'll just wait a couple more minutes for everybody to join. Oh, wow. We have friends from all over the world. Welcome. This is the wonderful thing about Zoom.
Yes.
So we'll wait until 10 o'clock exactly to begin. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. If you want to type in the chat, if you are coming from somewhere other than Winnipeg, or if you want to say Winnipeg, you can let us know where you're joining from while we wait a minute. Ah, from Stonewall. All right, it is 10 a.m. Welcome everybody to day 3 of our Senior Immigrant Safety Expo. We're so happy for everybody that has attended so far, and we're looking forward to another great day. So before I introduce our presenter, I want to acknowledge that what land we are coming from. So this event is coming from Winnipeg, and in the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that Manitoba is the traditional land of the Cree, Ojibwe, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene people, and the homeland of the Métis Nation. We are on Treaty 1 territory. We want to remind all the participants, we cannot see you, we cannot hear you, but you can use the chat if you want to comment. And at the end of the presentation today, you can use the Q&A if you have questions for our presenter. I also want to announce that sometime today you will receive an email. The email will have a link to a survey. So we ask you to answer some questions about the expo this week. If you can take a few minutes to do that, we would really appreciate that. There are 11 questions and we want to hear your opinion. You'll get that email today. I would like to introduce our speaker for this morning. Constable Belinda Duncan has been a constable with the Winnipeg Police for 21 years. Along with her wide range of experience and different roles with the Winnipeg Police, she's also an ESL teacher. So we welcome Belinda and we look forward to your presentation. So you can take it away.
Good morning, and thank you, Karina, for that introduction. Now I will share screen. Let me just check that it's going to toggle. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so it is going to toggle. Okay, as was said in the introduction, I've been a police officer for 21 years. In my 21 years, I have worked in almost every area of the city in a uniform capacity the majority of the time. I did do a period of time specializing in financial crime with regards to frauds and scams and counterfeit money as well. And as was mentioned, I have been a English teacher as a second language for almost 5 years. And this was one of the conversation groups that I went and joined just before the pandemic. And it was an initiative that I was doing, which gave me a chance to visit conversation circles and give the participants an opportunity to just ask any questions that they might have, because not everybody has had an opportunity to have an interaction with police other than in an emergency. But this gave them a chance to just have me there and ask any questions that they wanted. A lot of the questions were like what we're going to discuss today, but any questions that came across their mind, they could ask. I was willing to share. So to start out, we will discuss the phone numbers to call. So the non-emergency number is the 204-986-6222, and you press extension 8. And that will allow you to speak directly with a dispatch operator. What we also find is, unfortunately, a lot of people will call 911 for everything. And that isn't the most appropriate way to go, because 911 is intended for a true emergency. So it's an incident that is happening right now, and it is an immediate threat to somebody's life or property. And that includes if you need fire or an ambulance, that's when you would call 911. So if somebody has fallen and had a heart attack, you would call 911 and they would send first responders. Usually you'll get a fire truck first because they have a paramedic that works on the fire truck with them. And then an ambulance will come and then they will transport the person to the hospital. If a store is being robbed while you're in there, you can call 911. But what we see happen is if you came home after being out shopping and you see that somebody has broken into your house and your door is wide open, people will call 911 right away. And the operator, she will ask you, or he will ask you, is there somebody that you see in the house right now? And they, people will say, no, I don't see anybody. I've been standing outside here for about 5 minutes. Then they will put that call as, no, it's not really an emergency because it's happened already and the person who broke in is probably gone. So when speaking with the dispatcher, try to stay calm. And I know that it's hard when people are in a situation where they have never experienced before and they are anxious and they're excited and they want to talk fast. They ask you questions, and some people get upset saying, just send police, just send police. Well, the operator, the best way for them to send you the help you need, whether it's an ambulance or a fire truck or police, is they need to ask you information. So from the time you call, once they find out the address where they are going to, at first they're usually sending police because the dispatchers work for the police service, but they also send other services like fire and ambulance. And so when they start asking more questions and you say, oh, well, my wife, we were watching TV and she stopped talking and I think she's having a stroke. Well, now they're stopping sending police and now they're sending you an ambulance and they're sending you the fire truck. So they're asking you questions so they can give the people that they are sending, whether it's police or fire or ambulance, the information we need to get you the best help as fast as you need. Now, if English isn't your first language, an emergency situation, we know that a lot of people want to speak their own language because that's what they know. They struggle with the words in English. And I understand because I'm currently taking French and Spanish, and I know it's hard to come up with the words sometimes. So we do use interpreters through CanTalk, but we also have 36 different languages represented by our police officers or staff members that work for the police. But that way we can try and get you the help you need and understand fully what you need, even if we need to have an interpreter on the phone with you to better explain. So I have been tuning into some of the other presenters this week. So I don't want to go deep into a lot of these things. You guys, if you have further questions later on, you can ask that in the chat or through the question and answer. But I know that yesterday when I was listening to Silvana on the scams and frauds from Consumer Protection, she did talk about do not offer too much information when you're on the phone and you don't know who you are speaking to. And she talked about the grandparent scam where they'll call you and they'll say, grandma or grandpa, it's me. And people automatically have a tendency to just offer a name. Oh, is that you, Belinda? Now you've given them a name and that's what they work with. So you don't give information. And I know it's hard to sometimes stop that automatic response, but it's something to get used to doing. Don't give out too much information when you did not initiate the call and somebody has called you. Do not give out your credit card or your banking information when you do not know who you are speaking to. As well, she had touched on Canada Revenue Agency will never phone you and demand that taxes be paid by purchasing a gift card. And another thing that we see with immigrant population is that they will receive a call saying that it's police calling and they're going to threaten to arrest you or deport you unless you pay. That does not happen in Canada. If you get a call like that, it is definitely a scam. We do not operate that way in Canada. It was also, she touched on phishing, and phishing is when online or through letters in the mail, they try and get you to give them information by masking themselves as a real company that you may have dealt with. So it might be your bank sending you an email, but that's not really your bank. Your bank doesn't operate that way. And they'll say, like, you know, your account is frozen until you click on this button and give us your information. That's not what banks will do. So don't fall into that trap. But what we find as police is one of the biggest reasons why seniors usually fall into this category of being defrauded is because they're lonely. And receiving a call from somebody, even though you don't know them, but they're willing to sit and listen to you, you will end up telling more information than you should. You'll talk about your children, you'll talk about, you know, your spouse passing away and you're being lonely and you were left all this money, but you've got nobody to spend it with and stuff. And that's the kind of information they're looking for, because now they know you've got money and you're telling them information about you, and now they will use that to work on ways to defraud you. So if you're at home, these days it seems like there's a lot of people who don't want to answer their door if they're not expecting somebody. So you don't have to open your door to anybody, but it's important that you make it known that somebody is at home. Because when the criminals are breaking into your home, they will ring and they will knock. And if somebody answers the door, they might even just pass it off as, oh, is this John's house? And you say, no, John lives here. And most people think nothing of it. That is usually somebody who is checking to see whether or not somebody is at home before they break into your house. And we get a lot of evidence of that with now the doorbells that record and take pictures. And a lot of times now in Winnipeg, so many people have cameras on their home or those Ring doorbells. And it shows us that, yes, this is how these criminals work. They ring and they knock, and if nobody answers, then they go in. So that's why it's important that you let them know that somebody is at home. So if you do go to the door, if you've got a storm door, that outside glass door, keep it locked and you can speak to people through the door. So if you get somebody showing up at your door who wants to try and sell you something, you know, oh, we've got a Shaw deal going on in your area. We've got, we're doing alarms in the area. I just had somebody come to my door last week, Thursday, saying, oh, we're selling alarms in the area. And I said to him, didn't you see my sign on the front lawn? I've already got an alarm. Oh, okay, I didn't see that. Well, there's stickers all over my front door as well. But you talk to them through that glass door. And if they're getting too pushy, well, you have to get now because this is the best time and deal. If you don't buy it now, then it's going to be way more expensive. If they're too pushy, you can just close the door and end the conversation. You don't have to continue speaking to them. So another thing that happens is letters. They will send these letters. You've probably seen signs around, we buy ugly houses. So what they do is oftentimes prey on people whose homes look like they might be in disrepair, but they'll put those in everybody's mailbox because they don't know what financial difficulties somebody may be having. I just actually got this letter last week on Friday, and my house is a new infill home. It's 30 years old. So they are hoping that people are in a financial crunch and are willing to sell them your house. You are willing to sell them your house. The unfortunate part is they will often offer you money way below what your house is worth. And a lot of times people end up regretting it later on. So don't fall for it. Don't let your financial difficulties tempt you into thinking that this is going to be the best way to help you out, because they're trying to take advantage of you the majority of the time. 99% of the time, they're trying to take advantage of you. That's different from when a real estate agent may put a brochure in your mailbox saying, we sold a house in your neighborhood, because they're going to come in and they are going to appraise your home at a value, and you can make a decision about whether or not you want to sell with them. So at your home, you need to understand you do not have to let anybody into your house if you do not feel safe and comfortable. I have been to many calls in my 21 years where I have shown up in uniform and people say, I don't feel comfortable with you coming into my home. And that is perfectly okay. So if somebody shows up and says they want to read your water meter, you don't have to let them in. You don't have to let them in if they say, oh, I want to give you this demonstration, but it's cold outside. Can I come in? No, you don't have to let them in your home. So more things to consider in your home is to have lights on timers to make it seem like people are at home. I have a light on a timer in every room in my house, except for my bedroom and my kitchen. So lights are coming on at daytime, nighttime, in the middle of the night, and that makes it seem like somebody is at home. Outside, when I come home at night shift, I have motion activated lights. So as soon as I walk into the path of that light, it turns on. So that helps when it's dark outside. I can see to plug in my car as we go into winter time and things like that. And if you have an alarm, use it whether it's monitored by a company or not, because an alarm makes sound and that will cause anybody who is trying to break into your house or anything like that to run away. So it's important to use it. Some people have alarms and the only time they use it is when they go away on a vacation or a trip. It's important to use it all of the time. So now as we get nighttime, it gets dark outside very, very early. You know, now it's starting to be dark at like 5 o'clock or 6:30 or something like that. It's very early. So close your blinds when it's dark outside. Otherwise, as this image shows, people can stand on the street and see into your home. So now if where that person is sitting, if they are on a laptop computer, the person knows, okay, they've got a computer. If they had a flat screen TV behind them instead of that picture, oh, they've got a flat screen TV. You're helping them to shop what they want to steal out of your home when you're not there. In the summertime when it's hot, many people leave their windows open or unlocked. Don't do that, even if you think to yourself, oh, it's a second story window, we're going out, I can leave that open. You'd be surprised that criminals come with ladders, or they'll take a ladder out of your neighbor's yard or anything like that. So don't leave them unlocked. And when you go to sleep at night, you know, unless you are a very, very light sleeper, like I am, like when my motion light comes on, that wakes me up. But if you sleep heavy, don't leave your windows open. Now, these emergency response information kits, your teacher or somebody from the agent opportunity, they can be picked up at any fire hall. They are free. And this is an important piece of information. When police, fire, or ambulance come to your home for an emergency, when we see the red circle sticker on your door, we know that you've got one of these kits, and it comes with magnets on the back. Once you fill it out, you put it on your fridge. So when we see that, we come into your house and we go directly to your fridge. You should have one for every person in your house, especially if English is not your first language, or if you're somebody who has health issues. I have one filled out here at my home and also at my cottage. I only have an allergy to bee stings and I have an EpiPen. But should something happen to me and my throat, I can't speak, if I dial 911, they'll come in, they'll go right to my fridge, they'll look for the kit, they'll see it, and they'll know, oh, she probably got stung by a bee because that's her only issue. That may not be my problem that day, but it helps them out. It has a page that, as you can see here, it has all your information about your health card, your medications, your doctor, people that we can contact for you. All of that information helps us out when we come to your home in an emergency. With it as well, there's also a healthcare directive, which lets us know what your wishes are. Do you have an order that you do not want to be resuscitated should you have a heart attack or something like that? So it's important health information that your doctor can help you fill out, or a settlement worker could help you fill out if you don't understand the information that it's asking you for. But it's a very important piece of information and a document to have to help out in an emergency situation. So if you're in your yard working, as we often are in the summertime, it's important that if you're not paying close attention to your door, like if you're gardening in the backyard or anything, lock your door and have your key with you, because there are criminals who will walk and they'll see if you're working in your front yard, they'll go around and they'll try the back door of your house. And if you've come out your back door and you think, well, my yard has a fence around it, nobody's going to come in and try my back door, think again. They do that often. They'll come into your house. They'll usually come in. I had a couple I dealt with where the person came in and said, hello, hello. And then the husband, he was in the house. So he came out from the bedroom and he said, oh, what are you doing in my house? And the guy just said, oh, I wanted to use your washroom. And the old man said, no, you can't use my washroom. And the guy left. Well, it turned out the man who lived in the house, his wallet and his phone were right by his back door. And it wasn't until the next day when he went to go out that he realized his wallet and his phone were gone. So in that short little time that that guy stepped into his house, he took those items from off of the shelf nearby. You know, and it's as quickly as that it happens. If the old man hadn't been in the house, the guy would have probably gone further into the house, maybe to the bedroom or something like that, and stolen the wife's purse or anything like that. So when you're in your yard, make sure that your door is locked, and also take a look at the plants and trees that you have in your yard. Do they cover your windows that if somebody wanted to break in, your neighbors, say across the street, wouldn't be able to see because they would be covered by the trees? So in this picture, look at the trees behind the woman working in her garden. If there is a window on her house behind those trees, her neighbor couldn't see it because it's covered too much. So you have to make sure that you don't have too many trees or anything blocking your house from other people's view where these criminals can hide. So in your yard, when you're going to be away for a few days, as we come into these winter months, ask somebody, your neighbors that you know, to keep an eye on your house. Have somebody come and collect your mail, because if your mailbox is full like it is in this picture, that gives them an idea that nobody's there because nobody's collecting your mail. So ask a neighbor to come over and empty your mailbox on a daily basis, to shovel your snow in the winter time or mow your lawn in the summer, okay? And if you're not using things like bikes or lawnmowers, put them away in your shed or your garage and have them locked up. When you're at the bank, try not to take out too much money at one time. And I know that my mother, as a senior of 82 years old, she has a tendency to go to the bank and she'll take out, say, $1,000. And I'll say to her, what do you need $1,000 for at home? Oh, well, I just don't want to have to go out to the bank every week. And I'm like, well, where are you going to spend money? Like, so you don't need to have all that money at home, but you also don't want, when you're at the bank and the teller is constantly, as they count, and you watch them, they'll nod their head as they're kind of counting. Well, if there's somebody in the bank who has an intention of maybe grabbing your purse when you leave, they've seen that bank tellers seem to be, doling out a lot of money. It might be a bunch of $5 bills. They don't know, but all they know is they saw the bank teller's head moving a lot. So with that, try not to take out more money than you need to just have at home, like my mother does. Don't let somebody, as in that top picture, come to the ATM machine while you're at it to try and help you. If you need help, ask the bank staff. Don't just ask a random person, because you don't know if this person is going to snatch your card when it comes out, now that they've helped you with your PIN and now they've got your card and your PIN number, okay? And the bank tellers have been trained to observe. If a senior comes in and they're saying, oh, I need to send money, and you're like reading off of a piece of paper, kind of trying to figure out where you're sending money, they've been trained by police to intervene in case you might be the victim of a fraud or a scam. And believe that they are trying to help you from losing your money. And whatever the fraudster or the scammer has told you about, don't call police, don't tell anybody. When the bank is interviewing you and kind of asking you questions, be honest with them. Protecting your debit and your credit cards. It's okay to have that little waving feature on your credit card, because then you don't have to use your PIN number. But the credit card companies, MasterCard and Visa, they have protection. So if you call them and you say, I didn't make that purchase, they'll immediately take that purchase off of your credit card. They'll tell you to cut up that card and they're going to send you a new one. On your debit card, get rid of that tap feature. You can just go into the bank and tell them, disable the tap feature, and then you always have to use your PIN. And what that does is that keeps your money safe. If you were to lose your debit card, if you don't have your PIN number anywhere and you know it just off of your head, then you don't have to worry that somebody will be able to steal your money out of the bank. When you're going to your car at the grocery store or any place, have your keys in hand as you approach your car, because that red horn button that's on your key, it can be used to attract attention if somebody tries to come and grab your purse out of your shopping cart or anything like that. Be aware when you're putting your groceries into your car. Look around and see if anybody seems to be watching you. Pay attention to what's happening. So if possible, park in well-lit and busy areas and lock your doors immediately once you get into your car. When you're away from your car, do not leave valuables in your car that can be seen. Place them in your locked trunk. Don't think to yourself, oh, it's just a bag of old clothes. Well, the person who breaks into your car doesn't know that you've left a bag of old clothes. So they'll break into your car, take this bag out, and if they look through it and it's a bag of old clothes or nothing that they can use, they'll just throw it away. But now you've got a broken window. Okay? So as well, it's important to have your doors locked as soon as you get into your car, because what we're seeing now is when people are driving and in traffic, you've probably seen them, the panhandlers at very many intersections in Winnipeg. They will try your doors and sometimes they'll open your door, and if your purse is sitting next to you, they'll take your purse out of your car. So that's why it's important, as soon as you get into your car, lock your doors. When you are taking the bus, try to have your fare or your pass ready. It's best for seniors to travel during the day when it's busy, and buses come more frequently. If you need to travel at night, consider asking somebody for a ride, or if possible and you can afford it, use a taxi. As well, you can request that the bus driver let you off at a location on the route, even if there's not a bus stop. So sometimes there might be a bus stop before your block or after your block, but you can ask the bus driver and say, oh, can you let me off here, right on the same street where there isn't a bus stop, because it cuts down your distance even by a block maybe. And they will do that. And that's something you can ask for after 7 o'clock, but I've seen them do it during the daytime. As well, when taking the bus, you've probably noticed many of our bus shelters downtown and even now in the suburbs are being occupied by homeless people. So be careful when you're waiting for a bus, and if possible, wait at a different bus stop. So when you're walking around, don't walk and text or things like that. Pay attention to what's happening around you. It's good to have a cell phone with you in case of an emergency. And if you don't have a cell phone, carry ID with your name and your address and somebody that can be contacted in an emergency. So when my mother goes for a walk in the summertime, she doesn't walk in the winter, but in the summertime, she doesn't have a cell phone, but she carries her driver's license with her. And then she has a piece of paper with my name and phone number and my sister's name and phone number in case she were to trip and fall, or if she were to have some sort of a medical emergency. And so if you can, walk with your friends in populated areas. Now there's starting to be a lot of those walking paths all over the city. And try not to walk alone, especially at night or in isolated places. So where can you get help in and around Winnipeg? You can stop police. We have the cadets. We've had cadets for about 10 years now, and they wear a uniform, as you see in the picture here, a light blue shirt and dark pants with a gray stripe up the side, where police have dark pants with a red stripe up the side, and they are driving around in the vehicles that say cadets. But as well, we've got the downtown biz. They wear the orange jackets and they walk around in the downtown area. There's the Downtown Community Safety Partnership. They patrol the area as well. And in the summertime, they wear like a light green top similar to the woman's toque in the picture. There's the West End Biz. And then the Bear Clan, which is now starting to expand all over the city. They started working in the North End, but I live in East Kildone and Elmwood. We now have patrols regularly in our neighborhood as well. Okay. And I just want to touch on two other options instead of calling the non-emergency police number or else 911. So 311 is a service that was developed a couple years ago to get information about City of Winnipeg services and to make a request for service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, every single day of the year. Because what we were finding is when all else fails, everybody seems to just dial 911 or the police to take care of anything. And there are so many other places where these calls should be directed. And it still happens, but at least now the operator can say, that's not a reason to call police. Here, call 311. And the other option is 211. And this one is just newly developed, I think, in the last 2 years. And this number can connect you with government, health, and social services that are available across the province. And it helps Manitobans who are looking to find the right community or social resources, but don't know where to start. Okay.
Perfect timing. I was just popping in to give you your heads up. So
Yes.
Welcome everybody to ask questions in the Q&A function. And Constable Duncan can take a few minutes to answer your questions if you have them. So please type them into the Q&A or the chat, whatever works best for you. We'll just wait a couple minutes for questions to pop up. Okay, we've got 4 questions here. Can you read those or do you want me to?
I can see this one from Nazar.
Yeah.
What are the charges for calling for an ambulance and a fire truck? I'm not sure of the current cost of an ambulance. They don't charge you for when fire or police come. Those are services, social services that are paid for by our tax dollars. So if you call and need police, you will never get a bill later on saying you owe us money because the police service came to your house. That will not happen. And that's the same for if a fire truck comes. Even if they send the fire truck for a health emergency, as I said, they've got paramedics that work on board. They will come and they will start your treatment. It will only be if the ambulance transports you that you get a bill. The last I heard, I think it's $500, but depending on your income, it's probably covered again by the social services that our tax dollars pay for.
I think it's gone down in the last number of years, and I think it's under 300 by now, maybe around 270.
Okay.
I can find the exact number. I'll try to find it.
Can I jump in? It has gone down recently. I think you're right, Karina. And just to let people know, that could save your life, because especially if it's a heart attack, they're so advanced now, the advanced care paramedics. So don't hesitate to call an ambulance if it's a life and death situation.
Yes. Yes.
I feel strongly about that because, you know, if you're transporting someone in a vehicle too, that's not the same, because the advanced care paramedics have direct lines, Bluetooth to cardiologists, and it actually saved my brother's life about 5 years ago. So
Yes.
just thanks. Sorry.
Yep, no, that's okay. Absolutely. People often think that, oh, I can get my family member there faster. No, because when the fire truck or the paramedics show up, they start working on you right away. That's not time lost with you traveling in your car. Okay, what does WPS stand for? And somebody has put, it stands for the Winnipeg Police Service. You had that correct. What does FOB mean? You know what? I'm not sure what the letters are for that. That is just that sometimes people have their a little disc now where you don't have a key to get into a building, and they've just always called them fobs. I'm sure there's a real name for them, but you just tap it on something and it unlocks the door. Can you let us know the crime rate in Canada? Is it increasing day by day or decreasing in Canada? I don't know the crime rate for Canada. In Winnipeg, our crime rate, that's more of a complicated question. They noticed that violent crime, which Winnipeg has been the murder capital for many years, they say that violent crimes like murder and serious assaults are going down, but a lot of our small crimes like break-ins to houses, break-ins to cars, and those kinds of things are increasing. It's an ongoing thing, and it takes everybody's help to make it work. Every day when I go to calls and people will say, is it possible to have police drive by here more? Unfortunately, most times, even at the height of the day, the majority of the police cars in the city might top out at 50 something cars in the city. So they can only be in 50 something places at a time. So it's not possible to just drive by everybody's house. What is racial discrimination? Misfortunate incidents happen in Canada. So how can you avoid? Well, racial discrimination. What is racial discrimination? That is treating you unfairly based on the color of your skin or the perceived color of your skin. There are some unfortunate incidents that have happened in Canada lately. Unfortunately, you cannot always help what other people think. All you can do is take care of you and be the best person that you can be, because sometimes bad things happen to good people and there's not anything that they did to make it happen. If the emergency happens to other people, for example, a neighbor or someone in a supermarket or maybe a park, is it okay to call 911 on their behalf? Absolutely it is. You can definitely call 911 when you're uncertain about what has happened to somebody else, because you don't know if they're having a health emergency, because you don't know their health history. So you can absolutely call on their behalf. And if an ambulance comes, if they don't need to be transported, it's not like you're going to be billed because you're the one who dialed 911. That's not going to happen.
Belinda, there are a few questions in the chat. I can read them for you. You don't have to look them up. One of them was, where is the zone more dangerous in Winnipeg and which we should avoid?
You know what? There's a perception or an idea that there are more dangerous areas in the city, and that's really not the case, really. Things will happen more in some areas just simply by the businesses being open longer. So a lot of downtown is where a lot of the bars and everything are. So that's when things are going to happen, is a lot of times when the bars close. So when people think of the North End, they think, oh my goodness, there's so much trouble in the North End. Well, most of the trouble happens between like Higgins Street and say Euclid, where there's bars and hotels that are open regularly. But neighborhoods like the Maples are part of the North End. Not a whole lot happens there. So it's more about the things that are open 24 hours a day and when there's going to be drinking and those kinds of things that lead to a lot of our social problems.
Another question, every day I receive unfamiliar calls from all over the world and often with Winnipeg too. What should I do? Yesterday, Silvana recommended that we block phone calls or block numbers on our cell phones if that's possible. Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, blocking numbers, or if you answer, and usually when it's one of those telemarketers or the recording that says, this is an important announcement from your credit card company, you are a victim of fraud and stuff, there's usually about a 2 or 3 second delay before their recording turns on. That's a signal that this is going to be a recorded call. Just hang up. Just hang up. I received lots of those calls too. You know, when they came out with, you know, the universal blocking that you can do, it doesn't seem to work. I receive those every day on my phone, my landline at home, and my cell phone.
Yeah. Why do police leave the homeless people sleeping at the bus stop?
Well, it's not a police issue. The homeless people in the bus shelters, it's been determined it's a social issue. Winnipeg has a company, it's called Homelessness Winnipeg. They are going out and they are talking with these homeless people, ensuring that they're registered, to be on the list to hopefully get them housing. In the last number of years, they have opened so many more homeless shelters. At the corner of Logan and Main, there used to be Mitchell Fabrics, was a humongous fabric store. That is now one of the shelters that belongs to the Main Street project. A couple streets over on Princess Street, there's Silo Mission. There's another church there. We've got a lot of homelessness in Winnipeg. It's a social issue, usually related to substance issues or mental health issues, but it's not just Winnipeg, it's all over Canada and the United States.
There are a couple more questions in the Q&A, and starting with Anita Suin's question, I'll let you take that.
I heard before the downtown biz used to offer something called a courtesy walk to accompany people to walk to the bus stop or car. They don't feel. Yes, that is still available. I think that they work until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. I would have to look and see if that's still the times that they work. But yes, they do, because they work in pairs walking around in the downtown area. They will give you a safe walk and walk with you to a location and wait with you if you want them to. Absolutely.
And if there is an emergency, can I use the voice translation report?
I'm not sure what the voice translation report is. Like, we have interpreters. We use the services of Can Talk that will do that, or else we do have, like I said, we have 36 languages represented by the employees of the Winnipeg Police Services. So if you were to call in and say, I speak Cantonese, we will see if our Cantonese officers are working. I think that we've got 2 or 3 that speak Cantonese. If they are not working, we can sometimes get them on the phone. Otherwise, we will call Can Talk Services for an interpreter and have them on the phone for you.
I've been teaching ESL for a long time, and one thing I've often encouraged my students is to know how to say their address, or to know where they are so that they can say that address. And if that's all they can say, help will come to them. Absolutely. Even if an interpreter can't be found. So make sure you can speak your address very clearly, and also if you're not at home, to know the address of where you are.
Yes, because the first thing the operator will ask you is, what is the address of your emergency? Because as I said, from the moment you call in and they get that from you, they have started sending police at the very least. And now if it turns out that it's a medical thing, then they will start sending the fire truck first and foremost.
I think we have to end there. I want to thank you so much, Constable Duncan, for coming to us today on Zoom. We really appreciate this information. And we hope to see you again, maybe in our classes. If we can meet in person with you, that would be amazing. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. I will gladly come. I also have been doing my substituting as teaching English during this pandemic. So yes, you might see me one way or another.
Thank you so much. And I would like to announce, thank you. I'd like to announce our door prize winners for today are Alicia, Bridget, and Junhua. So congratulations to the winners, and you will get an email with information about receiving a gift card. So thank you, everybody. Please come back for our second presentation today at 1 o'clock, and that will be online safety. So we'll see you at 1 o'clock, everybody.